Raised me to be independent, but only so I could bankroll the golden child. When I refused, I uncovered a secret so devastating it shattered my entire family. As far back as I can remember, I've always known I wasn't my parents' favorite. My younger sister, Emma, was the center of their universe, receiving endless support no matter how many bad decisions she made. Over time, I learned to fend for myself. I worked hard in school, put myself through college with a combination of scholarships and part-time jobs, and eventually landed a stable, well-paying career. Despite achieving all of this with practically no help, my parents never seemed truly impressed. For years, I tried to brush it off, moving forward with the hope that someday they'd appreciate my independence. Emma's life, on the other hand, has been a series of struggles. She married young, but her first marriage lasted only 2 years due to infidelity. She quickly remarried and had 2 more children, but that marriage also fell apart when her husband's gambling addiction led them to lose their home. By the time I was building my career, Emma was on her 3rd marriage with a total of 6 children ranging in age from 12 to 2. Her current husband works part-time doing deliveries while trying to start his own business, but they barely make ends meet. My parents have always been there to clean up Emma's messes, covering various expenses and constantly finding justifications for why she needed a little more help. For a while, I was so focused on my own life that I didn't get involved in Emma's constant struggles, but then I noticed a shift in my parents' attitude towards me. Suddenly, they became more attentive, calling more often, praising my work, and frequently inviting me over for family dinners. I thought they were finally proud of me, and because a part of me had been waiting for this acknowledgement for so long, I guess I wanted to believe they were genuinely changing. Last month, they invited me over for dinner. At first, everything seemed normal. We talked about my job, caught up on family news, and for a moment, I felt truly part of the family in a way I hadn't before. Then the conversation took an unexpected turn. They started talking about Emma, mentioning how hard it was for her to raise 6 kids on a single income, explaining how they had done everything they could to help her but were running out of resources. They went on about how fortunate I was to have a good job and financial stability, pointing out that I had no dependents and was in a position to help family. Then came the real shocker. They wanted me to become financially responsible for Emma and her family. They had a whole plan laid out. They wanted me to buy her a new 5-bedroom house because her current apartment was too small for a family of 8. They wanted me to set up college funds for all 6 of her children, arguing it was only fair since I was the one who could afford it. And they wanted me to give her a monthly allowance of $5,000 to cover basic necessities and provide seed money to start a mommy blog. In total, they were expecting me to contribute roughly $2 million upfront plus ongoing financial support. I was completely speechless. They weren't asking for a simple favor, they were asking me to commit to being Emma's financial safety net for life. It hit me then that their recent kindness wasn't because they finally valued me as a son, but because they saw me as a source of money for Emma. I explained that while I was willing to help occasionally with small expenses or in emergencies, I wasn't comfortable taking on such a huge financial responsibility. That's when the family dinner took a complete nosedive. My mother started crying, saying I was abandoning the family when they needed me most, and my father straight up called me selfish and ungrateful. They told me I was showing my true colors and that they were disappointed in the person I had become. The dinner ended with them storming off. I thought that would be the end of it, but I was wrong. Within hours, Emma started blowing up my phone with texts accusing me of ruining her children's future. She even had her kids text me things like "Uncle doesn't love us anymore." It was all too much to process, so I ended up blocking their numbers. I couldn't believe how quickly things had escalated just because I refused to bankroll my sister's life. The next day, I got an unexpected call from my paternal grandmother. Apparently, my parents had been telling the entire extended family that their successful son was going to take care of all of Emma's expenses. Even before asking me, they'd spun this whole narrative about how Emma was moving into a big new house, how all her financial problems would be solved, and how I was the one who would provide everything she needed. Now that I'd refused, they were facing major family embarrassment, as everyone was expecting me to deliver on what my parents had prematurely promised. My grandparents were shocked when they heard the full story. They had always believed that Emma's lifestyle was supported by her various husbands and that my parents helped her out of their own volition, not because they were going into debt to support her. My parents' behavior upset them so much that they were now threatening to cut them out of their will, telling me they'd rather leave their inheritance to me and my cousins, who actually cared about each other and didn't take advantage of family. As this whole situation started to unravel within the family, I began receiving calls from relatives reaching out to offer their support. Some confessed they had no idea how much I had struggled on my own and apologized for not noticing sooner. My aunt, my mom's sister, even called to say she regretted not recognizing how differently I was treated growing up. Family dynamics started to crumble, with everyone taking sides, and my parents weren't handling it well. My phone started blowing up again, this time with texts from my parents alternating between rage and bitterness and tearful voicemails. They were furious that I was damaging their reputation within the family. In one message, they said I was ruining Emma's children's lives and that I would regret this decision someday. Then they'd switch back to pleading with me to reconsider, saying things like, "We're family, and family helps each other out." This whole thing has me in a whirlwind of emotions. Part of me feels guilty because I was raised with the idea that family is everything, and it's hard to break away from that mindset. But another part of me is exhausted, realizing how long I've been trying to earn the approval of people who only seem interested in me when they can get something out of it. This realization hurts, but I know if I give in now, I'm just setting myself up for years of financial and emotional drain, putting Emma's needs above my own life. So now, I'm here seeking advice on Reddit because I genuinely don't know what to do. Should I stand my ground and maintain my boundaries, knowing it's the healthiest thing for me, or is there some middle ground I'm not seeing? I really need some guidance on how to navigate this whole mess.